You're tuning in to Past Our Prime,
A show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Copen.
Mike, we're having a day in here, buddy. Okay? Tell you what. So episode 47, Mike King, recurring guest now, back at it. We had Olivia on last time with him. So it's Boys Day today. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Are you in a new apartment right now? Is this accurate?
I moved in on Friday.
You put a clock on the wall already?
No big deal. I got a sweet couch behind me.
Wow.
You can see my kitchen over there.
How did you even
TV?
Cribs.
How did you even take us through? Let's do cribs. How did you even get stuff? Because nobody can buy anything right now, right? I mean, how did you get a couch?
I couch was Facebook Marketplace.
Yep.
The 3 stools were my girlfriend's parents. The nightstand was my girlfriend's grandmother's.
There you go.
Like a bunch. I'm sitting on chairs right now that are Facebook Marketplace. It's good.
Perfect. So you went like garage sailing.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just smart shopping.
It's very smart shopping. The reason I'm asking about the apartment, Mike,
are we rolling, by the way?
Oh yeah, we're rolling. I did the episode 47.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Past Our Prime.
Mike,
So
Mike's going to join us, friend of the program.
Yep. Yankees plays for the Yankees. So Dan's having a tough day because he wakes up today and to a flood in his house. Noah's Ark. So this is stuff you're going to have to deal with.
I'm not even shitting you. All right. So I can't even. If I was still playing and I had to deal with this morning, I don't even know what I would be doing right now besides just kicking myself in the balls over and over again. It's like a speed bag right now. So had a nice night. Normal night.
You ate a lot of candy, you said.
I did. It wasn't a good night for that, but we have a November Miles challenge. You know, Tip's a very big, a very competitive guy.
Yeah.
And if you're starting a November Miles challenge, Mike, as a professional athlete.
On the Peloton.
Doesn't matter what. If you're starting a challenge and that starts November 1st, when would you start working out? When would you start that challenge? Would you start on November 1st or would you wait till November 3rd?
I would start November 1st.
Okay. That's what a serious athlete or maybe even a Major League Baseball player would do.
You're saying you're going to call me semi-pro
maybe
again?
Semi-pro over here. would start on November 3rd. What is the mentality there? I don't get it.
I'll tell you. Okay, so I had a big week too. So we had tons of clients in on the 1st. Very tough for me. I still got to work, Mike. I don't have these luxuries.
Mike, here come the excuses again because he's got his ass kicked in February and this was the excuse. So already on
into a mental breakdown.
Already on day 3, this guy is saying, "Oh, work's coming into play."
No,
you know what The Rock does? You know what Liver King does?
Yeah, Liver King is a good.
You know
dude.
what other people do? They don't let your schedule dictate to them what they're going to do.
Mike
There's
wouldn't let that
24 hours
happen.
a day. Get up an hour earlier.
I know. So I
I'm
grinded
so
today.
hot.
I did a nice ride.
We didn't even get to what happened to me this morning.
Well, we'll come back to it because the first thing I do want to say before this, we're doing the Miles Challenge. I'm going. Mike, funniest part about this whole interview today is the fact that after the last interview that we had Mike on, he sent me a text. I could read it. And he's like, "Hey, that's great, blah, blah, blah." Like 3 days later, he sends me a thing. He goes, "I didn't know that was Dan Copen."
So, in my defense, you never once said who he is. You just said, like,
Dan.
former athlete.
I said Dan, though, right? And I thought that you being a Hendricken guy, a Rhode Island guy, you knew, like, who Dan was, but maybe not.
Maybe, I mean...
That makes you feel good, though, actually.
Like, he's not Madonna. He doesn't go by one name.
That's right.
And
That's true.
He's now skinny and in perfect shape.
Oh,
and I'm like,
God, he can come on every week.
I know, he did say that, too. I could read the text. He was like, "Oh, he looks great."
I see the email thread afterwards that it was like D. Copen or Dan Copen. I was like, wait, like Patriots Dan Copen? He was like, "Yeah, you didn't know that the whole interview?" And I was like, no.
He thinks
So
there's
I'm
just
sorry
some
that
slap
I
dick
did.
next to you.
No, just some
which
slap
it probably is a slap dick.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I probably am.
The other part is the fact that we talked about Boston College like a few times.
And you had no clue then. Once you played it off well, I mean that's the natural move when you're getting interviewed by somebody that you don't know, or like Junior Seau used to call everybody buddy because he didn't remember the name, but it made that person feel feel good. Like, hey, we have a connection here, even though Junior never knew your name.
I laughed so hard when he sent that, and I've been holding on to that this whole time.
You've been waiting.
He'd be coming back on.
You know what? I enjoy that.
I was
like
just
that.
like, no, and I knew you would because you're like an anonymity guy. Like, or is that the word? Like, you like it to not be recognized. You don't want to have, like, you want to go out to eat and like nobody knows like what you did.
Yeah.
No, you do wear the rings around a lot.
Yeah, right. yeah. Yo, did I? So we were along that lines. I going out early, and the scream's kind of like
it's a little high.
It's a little
I kind of like it.
No, it's nice.
I like it. Yeah.
I was friends with Euclid early on in my career when he was just starting out with the Red Sox, and I'd been there for a number of years with the Patriots beforehand. But when we would go out, it would be Uke would be the guy getting recognized. I was like, Uke, you're like a rookie right now or something like that. How is this that like everybody knows you and I'm just the slapdick next to you, which is great. I don't really mind it. It fits the lineman personality where it's just, all right, go out, do your job. You're not looking for the recognition, help the team win, and then go home, go to bed, get up and do it again. Uke was like, hey, just think about it. You got a helmet on the whole time. Nobody can see your face. You're not on the interviews like Brady or Welker or Moss, whatever. And I'm sitting out there at first base or third base in a baseball cap, so I'm more visible than you. So that makes sense on that. But I appreciate him not knowing me.
I know this. We'll chop that up some more with the whole BC thing. Are you getting recognized in New York yet? You got to be close.
No, I mean, the only time I've ever actually been recognized outside of the stadium, because like when you're at the stadium, they're looking for you, they're whatever. Like as I'm pulling out of the parking garage, whatever it is, they will see me. But the only time I've ever been recognized was actually after my first date with my current girlfriend.
That's a good feeling. Timing. Good timing on that. Yep.
Could have been perfect time. She left, and like I was walking back to my car, and I heard him say Mike King. And I was like, there's no way he just said my name. So I turned around, and then the guy was like, I told you that was Mike King, like blah, blah, blah.
Nice.
And the good thing is they DM me to say like, hey, I was the one that just saw you on like 8th and Houston or whatever. And I was like, oh, hey, there you go. So I have proof that it actually happened because I was alone when it happened.
Yeah, because you basically
hey, hon, look what happened.
Yeah, look at
they recognized me.
Yeah, see that? Because you kind of look like every investment banker in New York. You could be.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. Like we're average looking white men. We're not bald like Nicholas, or I'm not like Aaron Judge, 6'8" and like stand out. So I take the subway in all the time, and not a single person ever, especially when I have a mask on, no one ever recognized me. So it's nice, but it was cool to definitely like get that first one.
Let's change that by the way. Yeah, we need some. Yeah, let's get you to be like superstar status. We can get there. What are you going to ask him?
Ride the subway in now. Do we take like hand wipes and sanitizer on that thing now?
That's
nowadays?
Dangerous.
No, I mean, whatever. It's honestly, it's just the best way to get around. Oh my God. I mean, parking here is just ridiculous. So I'd rather, I leave my car at the stadium and then just subway everywhere.
All right, so let's get into what happened to me this morning.
Well, is this your first place that you've been like? So were you staying like hotels? Have you been? Well, I mean, like through minor leagues and everything, you don't even like live anywhere. So
it's a tough life.
And then you might be hoteling it like through when you're like up and down, maybe you're not sure. Is this like kind of the first commitment for you in terms of a place?
Technically in New York, yes. I have a place in Florida that every offseason I go to and whatever, rent that place. But yes, and it was Jameson Tyone convinced me to do it, and then he ended up getting ankle surgery, so now he's here throughout the entire offseason. And he was like, yeah, you can like, when you're here, you'll have me to work out with and throw with, all that, whatever. And he said, what's great about having a place here is even if you leave for the offseason or for spring training, whatever it is, coming back to a place that's already furnished, already moved in, it's so much better than like scrambling to find a 6-month lease and moving stuff in or getting furniture or whatever it is. So I was like, you know what? I'll do it.
Yeah.
So
good. Well, now you
completely agree.
Now you have responsibilities, right? Because you have an area. Tell us about why that sucks, Dan.
Well, it seems to me when you have your own place, shit goes wrong all the time. And it could be
as soon as you get your own place, it's like the world falls apart.
It could be anything from an air conditioner to handles breaking off, or
somebody cutting your sprinkler
or
line power,
or dogs running through a screen door, which is a pain in the ass. But the worst problem to have as a homeowner or a renter is water.
Absolutely. It's 100% not supposed to be in there.
Water. So I get up this morning to my son coming up about 7 o'clock, 6:45, whatever it was. Hey, there is water all over the kitchen floor. Water.
Was it like, I mean, were we like trudging around in it, or was it just like, did it look like a dishwasher? Did it look like, when you get a dishwasher leak sometimes?
Yes.
Those suck too.
Yeah, and if you get a bad leak, then there's going to be a little pool on the floor.
That's right.
There was a pool on the floor, and it was spread out a lot.
Was anything ruined right off the start? Was there like
not ruined, but when you have the water leaking down from the kitchen ceiling, you have a good idea of where it's coming from.
That's not good.
So it is leaking down onto my kitchen floor from the kitchen ceiling. So
pouring
it's
down or leaking down?
I mean,
Pretty
a constant leak.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were filling up buckets basically after that. So, all right, you pinpoint it right upstairs. What's upstairs? The kitchen tub.
Tub.
Or not the kitchen, the bathroom tub. The bathroom tub.
You have a tub in your kitchen?
I am so flustered right now. The bathroom tub.
You are flustered.
So I go over to the bathroom tub. There's water coming out, and it's enclosed. So, there's trim work. There's panels around the bathroom tub, but you can tell there's water behind it.
I would have put my foot right through one of those panels and just got back there. I was so mad.
I took the screws off of the side. I'm like, okay, I can slide this panel out. I can. It's coming from the hot water too, because when you go on the faucet's hot, or the spigot, whatever you want to call it, spigot, faucet,
the
bathroom, wherever the water comes out of the goddamn bathtub.
Yeah, we got it.
The faucet, it's hot, and then I can hear like a hissing sound. It's like, okay, the water's going. It's all turned off, but something's still leaking under there. Water's coming out of the trim work, the baseboards, all that stuff. Can't get the goddamn panel out.
Mm-hmm. You had a day.
I called the contractor who built the house, who's a great guy, did a great work on the house. Happy as hell as that process went. He has the plumber over there in a half hour. I can't get the panel off. And I'm just like, I'm not going to rip the baseboard off, which I think is what's going to happen. He comes, he's like, yep, we got to rip the baseboard off. Okay. Rip it off. It's like, oh, yep, that's leaking. Well, the problem was it was leaking all goddamn night. And just pouring down into the kitchen.
It's not good.
So he fixes that. I'm taking pictures all over the place. I have a fan on it right now, and then we have someone else come in to probably take a look at like, hey, can we take care of this easily, or do we need to bring in the insurance on this? So we may be going over the insurance route. But if I was playing, Mike, and if you were playing as a new homeowner, how would you handle that situation? If you had to go to the ballpark at 9 o'clock in the morning and you just found a leak in your kitchen, how are we going to handle that?
I'm still at the age where I'm calling my mom.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good answer, Mike. You're right.
I have no clue. So I just be like, Mom, I got to leave. This is my address. Help me. And send her a bunch of pictures.
See, this is the problem. You don't have, you're not married yet. You don't have kids. Like, you haven't been through the ringer of like, well, hey, my kid's sick. I remember the first time my kid like had a cold, I was like, what are we supposed to fucking do?
Yeah, no clue.
And they're like, you're the parent. Like, you have to do something about it. This is that situation. He hasn't even dealt with that yet. He's just living in New York, living the life. You know, so
you'd
call the mom, phone a friend.
I definitely didn't have water leakage, but when I moved in on Friday, it was the most hectic time of my life. I've never, every place that I've bought has already been fully furnished, so I never really had to do anything. Mm-hmm. Technically my lease started on Monday, November 1st, started the lease. But I said, can I use the weekend to move in? Mm-hmm. And the owner said 100%, yeah, but it's a condo, so I need to get approved from the board. The board doesn't approve me until Friday at like 8:40 a.m. and I'm up in Rhode Island. And so I'm thinking that it's not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to move in today, whatever. 8:45 a.m. I can move in. I call the U-Haul. I rent the U-Haul. I run it to my house, pack it up with everything I have. I call the Facebook Marketplace girl that I'm buying the couch from and set it up at 2 p.m., get down to hers at 2 p.m., and I start to drive in New York City and realize that a truck can't go on certain roads downtown. So I have to go over the GW back into New Jersey, go down, cross back the Lincoln Tunnel. It was like a mess. And so I didn't get to the condo until about 5:15 p.m., left at 11. So it took me over 6 hours to get here.
It's getting dark earlier now, so it's like getting dark. You need the light for moving. This is another thing. I'll see if I can show you some wounds.
Oh boy.
So I got a cyst removed here, a cyst removed. Where can you see it? Here, and a cyst removed in my thigh. So I have stitches in my whole body. They said you can't lift anything. So I got buddies coming down to help me move in, and they didn't even know it was going to happen on Friday. I call them Friday morning, like, hey, you got to be there. So they get here before me because I have to take alternate routes. And then I get there at 5:15, and the doorman's like, no deliveries after 5 o'clock. We will not allow you to move in after 5. And I'm like, I got a freaking packed U-Haul. Where am I supposed to leave this overnight to move in the next day? He's like, nope, you can't do it over the weekend either.
You know, you have that card in your wallet that you can pull out. It says you're a Yankees player.
I'll have stories on that too. Okay. So I, whatever kind of sweet talk the guy, he's like, just go as fast as you possibly can. So it was me, my sister, her fiance, Dave, and my girlfriend all moving in. They took time off of work, all moved me in like 30 minutes. We get everything in. And then I go to leave to bring the U-Haul back to the U-Haul store. And
sure. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
U-Haul store.
Yep.
And I'm going down a road where there can't be trucks. So I like pull over to the side and I plug into this weird app, like a truck route. And then I'm calling my mom because I'm telling her how freaking hectic this day is. And all of a sudden, sirens behind me. I'm getting pulled over because I'm on the phone talking in New York, and because I can't Bluetooth it through the U-Haul, I'm on speakerphone with my mom, $150 ticket. And then it takes me an hour and a half to get to the U-Haul place where Dave, my sister's fiance, picks me up. Just a wreck. Finally move in, whatever. Yesterday, up at the stadium, and got Tim LeCastro is an outfielder with us. He tore his ACL, so he's rehabbing at the stadium. And he's telling the story to the trainer, and I catch the back half of it. Basically what happened was he used the Yankee card to when he was moving into his place. And because the doorman told like everybody in the building that there's a Yankee living there. And so his neighbor now asked him to go out to dinner like every single night.
Right.
And it's like the weirdest guy in the world. He told me, do not tell a single person that you play for the Yankees.
That's actually a smart move. But I heard 5 situations right there where I would have taken that card out.
Oh, you definitely would. You definitely would.
Be like, wait, I'm getting pulled over. Hang on. What's this right here?
I heard one situation that wouldn't prevent me from ever moving to New York. Hour and a half to get to a U-Haul store.
Oh yeah,
and to move in. Yeah. I mean, with the streets and all that stuff, like when you're driving down, you said there's a truck app. Like, did you do that from the start, or did you realize, oh shit, I can't get there?
So I did it from the start because my girlfriend moved in like a couple of years ago and said that because there's the 10-foot U-Haul truck, and then there's like an 8-foot van, and the van can go wherever, but the van wouldn't fit all the furniture that I had, so I had to do the truck. And so I had the app going down, and then I just plugged in the closest U-Haul drop-off spot, and it was like a 18-minute drive, and I'm like, oh, perfect, whatever. And then I get moving, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this on my normal maps. So I plug it into the truck route, and it's an hour and 20 minutes because I can't go like straight across the bridge in New Jersey and go. I had to go up to a different area. It was just a mess.
What about just parking, like on the street?
What if you just left
people?
It there?
Yeah, just leave. Like, hey, I'm a Yankee. I'm not going to tell you, but I'll just buy the goddamn truck.
Yeah,
just
like, can I just leave this here? How much does a truck cost?
Yeah, Jesus.
Probably less than that. Chaos.
Unfortunately, I'm not that rich.
You'll get there.
Just put it on Facebook Marketplace.
Well, it's
Maybe
more
you can
important.
sell it. Make you making money back.
It's more important that you sign a long-term contract just so you don't have to move again down there. Be like, man, I want to sign with the Yankees for like 9 years so I don't have to do that again.
Yeah, don't get married now. No kids. Don't outgrow that place. Don't ever do it again. Just stay there.
Stay there until you can't pitch anymore.
Never moving again.
I agree. Speaking about that, what year are you in right now? Is there an arbitration year coming up, or are you out of that? What's the deal?
Next year.
Next year? I thought it was this year.
So yeah, I was a September call up in 19, so I only got a cup of coffee in 19, and then had all of 20 and all of 21. So it's 3 years until arbitration, unless something changes with the CBA. That's another topic.
That's coming up too. Yeah.
I think December 2nd is when the current one ends. So
what's best case scenario then? Big year this year. Probably big year next year, right? So you got to do 2 in a row. You got to do 2 in a row, and then you could, technically you could have a big year this year, and then you want to sign before you get to arbitration, right?
Yeah. So I actually was talking to Cole and Kluber, and it's funny because if you look at Cole's first 6 years and Kluber's first 6 years, Kluber is the $300+ million man, and obviously Cole's still Garrett Cole, so he's still up there, but Kluber's worth that as well. He had 2 Cy Youngs in his first 6 years, everything. But what he did is he signed a very team-friendly contract before he got to free agency. And then the first year after he signed, won a Cy Young. Cole did it in like the perfect years where obviously like over the first 3 years of your career still matter. Your platform year is the year before you actually go to arbitration. So Cole was decent in his first and second year, and then had his best year in his third year. So he signed like for starting pitchers, it was a record breaker for first year arbitration guys. And then he had like a decent fourth and fifth year. And then in his 6th year before becoming a free agent was like the best pitcher in baseball. He didn't win Cy Young, but still he was, and that's when he signed $326 million. So it's kind of all about when you time your best years.
It's crazy.
It's kind of like Joe Flacco.
It's crazy.
It's like Flacco. Hey, I'm gonna hold out. And I'm not that great of a quarterback, but then my defense is going to be an absolute stud, and I'm going to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and then you're going to give me $120 million.
You know how many times, though, it happens the other way, too? Remember Jeff Francoeur? Remember the name Jeff Francoeur?
Of course I do.
So I knew him in spring training and stuff. He was with the Braves, and I was with the Astros down there. And I remember being with like him and McCann playing golf and with a few other guys. And Francoeur was like stretching that out. Like he could have signed a couple times and made some money and like, had it, and he kept going, and then he kept getting worse. And he never signed like a big pop. And he was Atlanta's boy. I mean, he could have signed a big deal at like, maybe a year before arbitration, like a 7-year, $85 million, $90 million deal. And he kept deferring, and then turned it, he still had a great career, but it was more like he was doing the $2 million at a time. Or the $1.5 million at a time, or maybe a 3-bagger at a time. Like that's where it was. No. So it's all time.
Kind of a funny Francoeur story. So my dad was down in Atlanta on business. This is when I was 10, 11 years old, and he was alone, didn't know what to do that night. So he bought like a $10 bleacher seat to a Braves game, and it was on TBS that day. So we're watching the game, and it ended up being a blowout. And he, maneuvers his way to right behind the dugout, sitting right behind the home dugout. And so he positioned himself where, like, if the one camera is facing the hitter, you could see him over his back shoulder. So he was the nerd that's, like, on his phone waving while we're talking to him. Yep. And so the game's going on. It's a blowout. Me and my mom just have it on in the background. And Jeff Francoeur hits a walk-off grand slam. They're down by 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. They put up a decent whatever comeback, and Francoeur hits a walk-off grand slam. And we see it. We're like, wow, it's an awesome game for my dad to see, all that kind of stuff. He calls us like immediately after, and he goes, I got his glove. And we're like, what are you talking about? And as he's coming into the dugout after the celebration, he takes his batting gloves off and throws them up into the stands. And my dad's taking video the whole time. It's on. Do you remember those like Palm Olive, like thick? They were like the smartphones back in the day.
Palm Pilot.
Yeah. And so he's taking video of this, and then you can see it the whole time. He walks into the dugout, and you see the glove get thrown up in the air, and my dad like positions the camera up. You see the glove just cross in front of the camera, and then my dad's hand go and grab it. And so I actually have one of his batting gloves from the day.
And he wasn't gonna give those to some little kid beside him. He was gonna bring those home. He was that guy. Like I feel like now if I go to, even though I have young daughters and everything, if they're not there with me and I got a ball, like you look for the closest kid. You're like, hey, this should be yours, right? I mean, and that's the way I'm sure you do this running off the field. How many balls do you think you give away a game? You yourself. Oh my God. Well, how many do you give away?
Like pitchers don't obviously have the ball as often. The thing is during batting practice, when we're out there shagging BP and you have the fans just like surrounding the outfield, they're just yelling for the ball. So obviously, like when your arm's hanging after you pitch one day, you're just like, I'm not throwing this into the bucket. So you just flip like
absolutely. I could not agree more. We used to give away absolutely every ball. They'd be like, you can't give away all the balls.
So you guys shag the balls?
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
Is that just? Do you like that?
Yeah,
I loved it.
Is that just like jack around time? Just like messing around?
What's your thought?
I can't believe that you're saying you love that.
The reason I loved it is because I used to get like an outfielder's glove and just kind of just run around.
I'm an everyday player, people.
I have like batting gloves in my back pocket. You know, I used to get my running it. I used to run around like catch a ball and like snap it. You know what I mean? And then just like backhand it to the bucket or like throw it in the stands. But yes, did I want to just be sitting on my ass in the clubhouse, like getting ready for the spread to come out? Absolutely. Was I first in there? Absolutely. But it was fun to run around. It was fun to run around and shag. It's a good time. I can't believe you don't like that.
Mike, do you bring your clubs on away trips and all that stuff?
I haven't. Obviously, like, whatever. This is my second year. I don't want to be the guy that brings it. And so my first year, like, obviously COVID was in 2020, but still our starting pitchers, none of them golfed. It was just like kind of a thing that none of the starting pitchers golfed. And all the starters are usually.
Is that kind of disappointing when you go into that like team, like, hey, I know what it's about, and why are these guys not golfing?
Yeah, it's also very rare. That's rare.
Very rare. Because every like Darren O'Day comes in this year. And he's like, wait, no one's bringing their clubs. So he didn't even bring his clubs. And he said literally every team that he's ever played for, everybody, there's like 10 bags of clubs going on the plane.
Oh, God, that's amazing.
Our coaching staff.
we did it on minor league buses. We did that
a lot. And there was one time where I was supposed to play, but because it was like Booney couldn't play. So I was going with it was actually 3 other coaches and me. And it was this year we were down in Tampa, and then we had a COVID breakout. So then we were playing Stream Song down in Florida.
Yeah.
And the COVID breakout happened like right when we flew in, and because we had an off day on like a Monday, and we were going to play Stream Song. And so that was the only time that I've ever actually been close to playing in season.
We got to get those on the plane because we need to know where you're going to play. I want to know, like, if you go play in Colorado, where you're going to play.
Can't you just talk to Cole and Kluber and be like, hey, these are mine, but can you say they're yours?
Yes.
And I'm not going to be the douche.
Yeah. Then you're good. Can you also like text a few clubs in advance, and that way you can get me on there? You know what I mean? Like, that's what you need to do. No, I mean like golf courses.
Oh yeah.
You know, like Cole can probably get on. I'm assuming anywhere,
but he doesn't golf.
If he wanted to.
Cole doesn't golf. Kluber does. So, but then he was hurt basically the whole year, so he never brought him. O'Day does, but he was hurt the whole year. I'm talking like starting pitchers, like Jameson Tyone does a little bit, but he says it's more in the off season. Montgomery does not at all. Severino doesn't at all. So it's like all of our starters. And when I was up there in 2020, it was like Tanaka never did. In 19,
Jesus
like
Christ.
CC never did in season.
I'll tell you what, you're saying some pretty good names.
Big names, but no golfers. That's crazy.
It's just so disappointing.
Amazing. But you're playing. Did you just join somewhere? Is that for real? Or now what are you doing? Now you're in New York. So
yeah.
Well, it's weird. It's weird. My dad joined, and it comes with like all family. It's not a family membership, but he's able to like register us, and we can play at certain times.
They do these like vertical. Like,
this is why he still calls his mom the fiction.
I know. He's like, my dad joined.
I'm still on the insurance.
Yeah, you know, you're the guy that should have joined. We didn't fix a lot of this.
He joined Lake of Isles in Connecticut, and what's crazy is he got my sister's soon-to-be husband. Like, they haven't even been married yet, and he's also like a pseudo member. So it's like you can play Tuesday through Friday after 2:00, and on the week, or Tuesday through Friday whenever, and then Saturday, Sunday after 2:00.
Yeah, that's like these vertically integrated memberships. It's just so they get more play at some of them. But now you're gonna. I mean, you might be available in October, right? I mean, that was what I texted you. Well, no, but you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be available in October. When he texted me when the playoffs started.
I was waiting for you to get in.
I know. I'm going to get into it on him right now. So he sends me a text. He's like, hey, what are you doing? You know, I'm like, I'm jammed up for like the first time. And I told you I say yes like 99% of the time on that.
That's why you were my first text.
I know, and I was stuck. And then I texted you a couple years ago to play in a member guest, but you didn't have a handicap. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, so do you have one now? Can we get one?
I do now. I started carrying one during COVID last year, and then it like ran out throughout this season. I wasn't going to play anyway, so I just renewed it.
Okay, good. So you can get in that tournament with me next time. But it was October, maybe say 3rd, 4th, 5th, something like that. And I was like, are you going to get used to not Are you going to get used to playing a lot of golf in October? Well, I think was my message to you. And what's your answer to that?
I mean, God, I hope not. It's almost one of those where like watching, obviously I watched the World Series, but like watching a series right after you get bounced, it's almost like I had no interest in it because I was just like, sucks, you know? So I watched the World Series, but besides the World Series, I probably watched like 3 or 4 playoff games since we got bounced.
That's 3 or 4 more than Dan.
Were any of the 3 or 4 the Houston-Boston series?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. See, he likes the Sox still somewhere. It's deep down in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
How bad is it being in New York, playing for the Yankees, and losing to the Red Sox in the playoffs?
That's a great question.
And I'm not trying to be a dick about it either.
No,
by the way. No, I'm not trying to be a dick.
It is a good question.
Hey, I've lost plenty of like big football games to the Colts or whatever, the Giants, obviously. You know, I'm trying not to be the dick right now, and you're making me sound like a dick.
I'm grinding you right now.
Yeah.
2007.
No. I will say, so like me growing up in Rhode Island, like going to Fenway all the time. At Boston College, we would get those like $6 student seats or whatever. And so Fenway has like a big place in my heart. I know I can't really say that as a Yankee, but
that's fair. Every kid's got to like a team growing up.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll clip that one.
By the way, people who aren't even Red Sox fans love Fenway Park and love to play there in the atmosphere. So
that's where I said it. It was like 2 weeks before the end of the season. We went to Fenway and we actually swept them. And it was like almost a turning point in our season. And while I was there, I said, how awesome would it be to have a wild card game at Fenway, Yankees, Red Sox? And everybody else was like, no, it would be so much better at Yankee Stadium. And yes, it still would have been great at Yankee Stadium. But like, for me growing up, like going to a bunch of Red Sox games, I was like, I wanted that wild card game at Fenway and just like hearing the crowd shut up when we go up or whatever it is like would be so satisfying to me. Obviously it worked out the wrong way, but I was really looking forward to playing in that wild card game.
How much are you getting yelled at as a Yankee going into the Fenway? I mean, it's a big thing. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's good. It's like my mom is the one that is very sensitive about it and hates like hearing the
shocking.
Guy,
maybe we should have your mom on next time.
Yeah, she's coming on next time for sure.
All I'm doing is telling stories about her. But like, that's the game. You know, it's fun when those things when that happens. And I'm warming up. I was warming up in the 9th inning of that wild card game before you ended up going to extras, and it was like every time I throw a pitch in the bullpen, and in Fenway the bullpen's literally like right next to the stands. They can reach out and touch me, and every single time I miss a spot, they're just ripping me apart. They like, I'm number 73 and a nobody on the Yankees. And they're like, who the F is this guy? Like, never heard of him before. Like, whatever.
God damn it. I'm from here, people.
Yeah, I went to school here. I literally went to college here and was an All-American or whatever else. And then I went to high school here, too.
Apparently, that's how I felt after he came on and emailed you or texted you a couple days later. Who the hell was that guy?
I loved that. That was one of my favorites. I did see a video about that with like Garrett Cole warming up that people were just relentless on him at that wild card game, like all over him in that bullpen. They're like, no wonder. You're just mentally getting grinded before you get out there.
There was one kid there that was just, could not have been more annoying. And because Cole got like whatever bounced in the second inning, it was a bullpen day. So everybody's warming up like every inning, somebody's warming up. And this guy was just, you'd throw a pitch and it'd be right down the middle and be like, ball 3, and you're like, all right, dude, like lay off the booze for a sec. Yeah. But so it was annoying, but like that's Fenway, you know.
What how long are you gonna have number 73? You gonna keep it?
I'm trying to change it this offseason.
Okay. I was wondering because we asked you that question last time. And you're like, I'm keeping it. I remember. Like, so we're ready to change.
I've been trying to change it every offseason, and it's tough with the Yankees because they have like 100 numbers retired.
Yeah, the whole side is retired. Like all of them are.
Every single one. So so after 2019, Jay Happ was one of my good buddies when I first got called up, and he was changing his number from 34 to 33. 34 was my number at college. It's kind of just been my baseball number all throughout the minor leagues. I've tried to get 34, and Happ knew that I liked 34. So he texted me and said, hey, I'm getting it switched from 34 to 33. Text right now and say, can I get that number? And I did. And our clubby was like, I totally understand and I'd love to help you out. But as a young guy, like I need to have these lower numbers for if we do sign a veteran that then wants number 34. So, and he told me, after you get like a full year of service time, I'll give it to you. And so then after 2020 was like, hey, got the full year service time. And I
still open.
And it was the same thing. Like, we've actually been running out of low numbers. Can you go one more year? So I said, all right, fine. So
now you're there now. So this text, we should send it right now. Let's see what his answer is.
We should coordinate a text right now.
Yeah.
Or your mom can send the text. Or we
can get her to sign the permission slip.
Hey, my son would really like number 34 this year.
How many moms have actually sent that letter to the Yankees? Be like, my son would be really good to play for the Yankees.
I mean,
I bet there has been.
I bet you there has. Baseball players are kind of like that.
We're an interesting crew.
Spider tack.
You want to talk about that?
I do.
Okay, let's do it.
Because we have it.
Yeah, we do have it. We do.
How much of a difference did that make this year, when they actually started enforcing it and going out to the mound and checking it? How much of a pain in the ass is that?
Originally, it seemed like a pain in the ass, but then
it calmed down.
It became routine. I mean, the game's all about adjustments, and so like once we kind of adjusted to it, we were fine. I can't believe you're putting that on right now. That's gonna stay in your hands for like hours.
No, but you've
seen this before? You know what this is?
He knows.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Do you know what this is?
Don't incriminate yourself. I have a question. How? I mean, I pitched. Like semi-pro, as Dan likes to call it.
What is that, right? Moon from
Jackie Moon. I'm the Jackie Moon of baseball. How? I don't understand how this helps, Mike. I can't figure it out, man. It's too.
Have you not thrown with it?
Yeah, you know what? I haven't thrown with it. You're right, but I don't know if
his elbow doesn't feel very good right now.
Elbow is flared up, but I can't even understand. Like when I hold a ball. I don't have a ball. We got a ball. All right. When I hold a ball, this is too sticky to me.
So here's my thing. I'm going to start it with I'm a sinker baller, so I want low spin. So I've actually never used it.
Maybe that's why too, because I did probably teach you how to throw that, but that's fine.
No big deal. But a lot of people have said that Spider Tack was too sticky and couldn't figure it out. A lot of guys will try to cut it with rosin or some type of oil to make it less sticky. Yep. I don't know if you were ever like a sunscreen and rosin guy.
Yep, boom, nailed it. So maybe that's why I'm not cutting it.
Is that legal?
I sunscreen rosin was my
sunscreen. That's a health standard.
So you put I think I said this on one of the episodes. Bullfrog. You
don't want to get burned.
I use Bullfrog, like the green. Spray that on. Shave the arms first of all. Shave them up, and then rosin. Then maybe another layer, and it's like just enough where it's not like I still would lick my fingers, but it would just give you enough like you didn't have that dry feel or like slippery sweat feel. You had like enough tack to it. This feels like so much that I have no clue how the ball even comes off your fingers, in all honesty.
Yeah. I never liked it. A lot of guys that started using it would just spike it into the ground, but it does so if you go no tackiness at all, it's whatever your spin rate is. Sunscreen and rosin is like 150 plus RPMs. There's like Pelican Grip, Tyrus. There's a bunch of other stuff that's like 200-ish RPMs, and Spider Tack was 400 RPMs. If you could figure it out, it would make your stuff nasty.
So you're saying I cheated the whole time when I played because I used sunscreen?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, hey, skin cancer, that's a problem.
Yeah,
you have to wear sunscreen
on sunny days. They actually tried making it a thing where if it was a night game, you couldn't even have sunscreen on. But day games, you're allowed to have sunscreen. And so it was like, and then it like, whatever, you saw the umpires, they would never like actually touch your skin. They're just looking for a foreign substance on your glove, on your hat, on your belt, wherever it is. So like, because like guys were actually concerned about that. They're
guys were dropping their pants.
By the way, I already know for sure where I would have put this that they wouldn't have found it. Right. I've thought about this 100 times. Like, so you know how you always like tuck the back of your jersey in? Sometimes, like, when you're pitching, like it comes out a little, or so you put it right on that tag on the back of your pants. So when you reach,
see, he's all over it.
When you reach back there to like boom, you put it right there and then bang, baby. Just like in Major League.
I would say that guys have tried to get around the system, and so umpires have been told that if you go to a certain area multiple times, that's not one that they check. They will go to it. So, like I'll stand up for a sec. I would always pull my pants up right here,
and that's what they check.
I would then go, whatever, I'd walk out and they'd look through it and they'd be like, hey, we need to check like the back corner of your pants, like turn that over.
Oh, so they did like a scouting report on you and like, hey, where do you, all right.
They've got this.
Do they check every time you go out there then? Or if you're pitching?
So a starting pitcher gets checked twice in his outing. And then if it's a reliever, it's just right after his first inning. So like when I was starting, it'd be right after the first inning every time. And then after like the fourth inning, as a reliever, I'd come in the sixth inning, finish the sixth inning, and after that inning, I'd get checked.
Okay.
But then if I finished the game coming out of the bullpen, if I went the sixth inning, they wouldn't check me 7, 8, or 9.
Okay.
Do you think it's kind of bullshit they did this in the middle of the season? What's your take on it?
Yeah.
Because it's both. Like, it's coin flip. A lot of people have one opinion or the other. I think it's nuts, though. Like, you can't, like, stop this in the middle of a season.
I agree.
And I'm whatever. I know it affects a lot of pitchers, so I don't want pitchers to be mad at me. But like because I didn't use it, I'm like okay with kind of leveling out the playing field a little bit.
Sure. Yep.
But I do think it's extremely unfair to and I know like a lot of forearm injuries came from that, and I know like Glasnow came out saying that he has to grip the ball harder now because it doesn't it's slipping out of his hand.
Sure.
So now there's more forearm stress, all kind of stuff, and there's a ton of injuries once this came out. So I have no idea if that actually led to this.
Yeah.
But I do think it's very unfair to make the pitchers have to change mid-season. It's got to be if they were talking about it throughout the whole offseason, it should have been a rule coming in.
It's a hot stove thing where they can't
competition committee. Let's get together, figure out how do we do this. Now look from the hitting side of it, Mike, and Tip has said this before. If you're changing the grip on the pitcher's hand and the ball and all that stuff, are those batters like scared for their life? I mean, if they can't grip it or they're not used to it, now it's
that's what I was saying.
Now they're not hitting their spots and they're maybe wild.
Yeah, so I remember it was a Red Sox Yankees game. I think it was Michael Pineda had the pine tar on his neck.
Yep.
Do you remember that game?
Oh yeah, I remember. He had it like black. It was like all around the top of his collar of his neck. I remember this. It was probably I'm going to say 4 years ago, but it might have been like 8 years ago.
I think it was longer because I remember Pedroia got asked about it, and Pedroia said, honestly, if it keeps him from throwing it over my head or something and in the zone, I'm fine with him using it. And it was before all the technology came out of how it increases spin rate and actually helps you pitch.
Right.
So originally guys would say it was to give me better command. And so now you're not in danger because I can actually have a grip on the ball. And then once science started to come out saying that it actually helps a pitcher. And now it's like the year of the pitcher. We're breaking records and strikeouts and velocity, spin rate, movement, all that kind of stuff. It's now realizing that the pitchers are having an advantage by using this. So I think that hitters would rather pitchers not, because now it makes their stuff not as good, and maybe be a little bit more scared in the box. I think it then can work better to the pitcher, where if you throw one over his head, now it's like he's a little scared in the box.
Right. Do that shit in the off season. Don't change it up
that's
in the
what
middle.
I think. It's like that was like a winter meetings December decision is what that felt like, and they just did it literally like right in the middle of the year, which is crazy. Yep. And baseball normally, I can't believe that like CBA and all the other crap let that happen, because that must have been the player the MLB Players Association, all that. It was surprising, but they did it.
There was some rule, because we had some team meetings about it before it was coming out, and there was something where like the union actually didn't have like much of a say in terms of like the rules. It was like it was like up to the umpires union and umpires and the owners of the team. So it was something like we didn't have much of a say, but I think it'll be something that we still talk about this CBA. Hey,
did you go to the Field of Dreams game? Were you there at that, or were you hurt?
I was hurt. I was like borderline depressed during my rehab, just because like obviously they're like I haven't seen many stadiums. I had the whole year in 2020, but it was only a 60-game season, and we only stayed on the East Coast.
Yep.
And so I'm like, I want to go play in all these other stadiums. And of course, the 2 months that I was hurt, it was like we went out for an LA trip. We went to Oakland. I think we went to Houston. We went and then we go to the Field of Dreams. I'm like, I missed so many good trips that I'd obviously like to go to. And so it sucked, but no, I was not there.
Would you stay? So you'd stay at home. You'd stay you wouldn't go to Tampa,
New York, or
did you go to Tampa for that?
I was in New York the whole time.
Okay.
And this is actually a good one and a good story. So Darren O'Day was like, I don't know, he's 40 years old. He was like a mentor to the young guys and an awesome dude. Just like really took care of everybody, and like the team prankster.
Nice.
But so he pops his hamstring the day that I hurt my finger and got hamstring surgery and was out for 6 weeks where he literally couldn't do anything. So they were like, if you want to, he lives in Atlanta. If you want to go home to Atlanta, like you can, because you don't need to do any PT. It's after 6 weeks, whatever. So he had a 3-bedroom apartment in New York. I was hotel living at the time because I was still kind of up and back, like whatever, back and forth in AAA and big leagues. And he was like, dude, just take my place, pay the utilities. That's all you need to do. So I was in this like sweet 3-bedroom on the 31st floor and paying like $400 a month. So that really helped me, because if I was hotel living the whole time that guys were on the road in like these awesome places, I'd be even more depressed, you know?
Yeah, but if you're hurt, you're picking up that tab? They're not picking that up for you?
I don't know. I think he was keeping it because he was going to come back. Okay. So yes, you're right. Like he could have just given the lease to the Yankees for the rest of the year. But because he was just going to Atlanta for a little bit and then coming back to rehab, he kept it.
Okay.
Hey, tell us the finger story. How'd you hurt your finger?
I'm just an idiot. That's why. I'm trying to think.
Is this the truth? Is this a true story?
No, he'll tell the truth. The funnier thing is, though,
hey, sometimes what you tell the trainers and what actually happened,
trust me,
sometimes isn't the exact way things happen.
We haven't had McKellar on yet, but yeah, we know. Like he's got some hilarious ones.
This is a very true story. So we were in Seattle, and it was the day after I pitched, and so I'm doing my like whatever normal leg lift on day one, and I'm doing a single leg RDL. And whatever. Normally it's with kettlebells, but we didn't have kettlebells that day.
Yeah, Tip doesn't know what that is.
I know what that is.
Tip doesn't know what that is.
I've done plenty of those.
And so you go like whatever on your left leg and hold it with your arm, but we didn't have kettlebells. So I stood the dumbbell upright. So like the handle was here, and then you had like each dumbbell standing upright, and I was just picking up the dumbbell and putting it down, whatever. On like my last rep of whatever, I think it was my last set, I'm talking to our strength coach while I'm doing it. And I just go to put it down and didn't realize that I was close to the other dumbbells. Oh. And so how would I describe this? I'm holding the dumbbell here, and it hits the other dumbbell and then hyperextends my middle finger and tore the ligament that connected this bone to that bone, like whatever right in between there. And originally when it happened, I have pictures. So I like saw it when it happened and it hurt. And I was like, whatever, pissed off. And my trainer, like strength coach, was like, you okay? You okay? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm fine, whatever. Like, didn't think anything of it. Finished the lift. I moved to the bullpen for that series. So I'm sitting in the bullpen. Like, I know I'm not going to throw today, but like I was talking to Chad Green and I'm like, does this finger look like really fat to you or whatever? I'm sitting in the bullpen. He's like, yeah, a little bit, but it seems fine. I'm gripping a baseball. I'm like, I'll be totally fine. So I wasn't going to say anything to the trainers because like, whatever, it hurt for a second, but I'm fine. I wake up the next day and the thing could not have been fatter. And I was like, oh my God, it just totally blew up on me. And so we're in Seattle, so we don't have like the access to all the doctors and everything. And so I just saw the Seattle doctor and got an x-ray, and he was like, yeah, x-ray seems totally fine. So you didn't break anything, you're fine. It's just pain tolerance and swelling. Once that goes down, you're fine. So I took like 2 days off from throwing, and I was like, I'm not going to be a puss. Like if nothing's broken in there and I'm fine to go, I'm going to go. So I was throwing for like the next 10 days. And every time I was throwing, it was just like a sharp pain every time I released it. And so we were on a road trip. Once we came home, I finally was like, I think I need to like see somebody else, because like this is not getting any better. So I got an MRI and saw a hand specialist. And that's when he was like, yeah, dude, you tore the ligament, and it's like, it takes 10 days for it to, it's not bad because there's so much stuff in your finger to like keep it tight. So it's not like there's surgery or anything, but you just need 10 days of nothing to heal it. And for the last 10 days I've been throwing. So then I finally took 10 days off from throwing. And so it ended up being like a full month of like shutdown before I could build back up. And then once I was building back up, it was already getting to like late August. So I really only pitched for the end of for the month of September. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I heard it was a freak accident, is what I saw on Twitter.
What sucks is like you'll know this. In everyday life, I could do everything. It's not like anything hurt. The only thing that hurt was when I tried to like hyperextend my finger,
which is like throwing a fastball.
Is when I'm releasing a pitch and now my finger hyperextends.
Yeah, it's like the number one thing for it.
So we're all good now.
Yeah,
we're all good now. Feeling.
So do you?
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, I'm trying to negotiate the next contract.
Well,
finger's not a problem.
I'm also wondering where you're going to go, because you talk about injuries and stuff, and like baseball pitchers, we like to Like, I mean, I tweaked my hamstring. You know, you get a finger injury. You're like, I dislocated my shoulder and ripped out a socket.
A lot of times, yes, I am. But I have always said, and I've told my wife this over and over again, fingers and toes are the worst.
You have said that. That's
they
right.
are and I used to hyperextend my thumbs all the time. So I had to put splints on my thumbs, even for like walkthroughs. Mm-hmm. If I got my thumb caught in between, like, an armpit or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It would extend back. And that hurts the most. Or cold games when you're getting your fingers stuck in between helmets or something like that.
I don't like that. Doesn't
those things
good.
And breaking fingers obviously a lot. It's just fingers and toes hurt more than anything else.
And you've got you're snapping the ball though, an important set of hands behind you.
Yeah.
So what if you said you can't wear? What if you had like a splint? And he was like, no, you can't wear that.
No. I had splints on my thumbs every practice, every game. I had. Both of my hands, my two middle fingers were taped together every game because they bend back or they get broke or whatever. I mean, even if you get broke or like dislocated or whatever, you come over to the sideline, you pop it back in. It's like, hey, give me some buddy tape on this. That's all I need, and you're ready to go.
But if 12 said, hey, I don't like that splint, I don't like the way that feels, you take that off, right?
I would not, because then I wouldn't be able to play.
Fuck yeah. Okay, I'm just saying.
Sure. I'm sorry about your feel right now, but if I take this off, I'm going to lose my thumb. I kind of like my thumb, but
okay. All right.
I respect your position in history, but we're talking about my thumb.
Okay, good. Are you still Pats fan? Or are you like joining an allegiance of New York, or like how's that work?
No, I'm definitely still Pats fan.
Okay, good.
If anything, well, I made the decision after Brady left. I still said I'm going to be a Brady fan, but if the Patriots play the Bucs, I'm going to be a Patriots fan. Right, but like when the Bucs aren't playing the Patriots, like I was rooting for them hard last year in the playoffs.
Did you want that kick to go in?
It's sort of worn off, hasn't it?
No.
Yes, it has. I think last year, like you said, people were rooting for him hard. People were rooting for Tampa.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe even more for the Pats last year.
Okay.
I mean, or is equal. But as it goes on, like it's not as fresh. People move on, they go ahead. Now this year, even if you talk to other people, like it's just like, nah, I'm a Pats fan. I hope Brady's okay. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I hope he does well. Mm-hmm. But I don't really watch them anymore. Last year, I think people were interested, especially up in New England, of Tampa.
Yeah, because they wanted to see what was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, that's our. That's
that's your guy.
I bet Mike likes him just as much as I do.
I bet he does too, but he's just saying he's a Pats fan now. He doesn't really care. Like,
Well, me too. I wanted that kick to go in. When they played, right, I wanted that kick to go in so the Pats won. That's how I knew that I was Pats.
That's what you're all the way back.
I needed that. I needed that kick. That couldn't have worked out better for me to make my decision.
So how do we feel about the last 2 weeks? Obviously, they play the Jets, who suck, so it doesn't really matter. But they put in a good performance, and if you have a good outing, maybe against a team that's not hot or anything like that, it can propel your season. It can change your mentality, change your confidence. So I think they got that on the Jets, but I mean, Chargers now. Are we all in? I know. I mean,
we look like Mac Jones. We're all like investment bankers.
Tip is all in on the moral victories.
Oh, bullshit.
Of Mac Jones. Oh, you had
to throw your pen down again?
No.
Closure.
Tap. Tampa Bay. Tip in Tampa Bay versus the Pats. It was like a moral victory. Are you about moral victories with the Pats, or are you expecting wins? He's a moral victory guy.
I'm expecting wins too. He is too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was still iffy on the Patriots the whole time. I do think that they looked like a playoff team last week. I think that like Mac Jones is a great fit. I think that Belichick's going to be that. Don't make a mistake. Don't let the other team beat us. Don't let us beat ourselves. That we're running. You
can say we. That's fine.
Say the we. Say the we. I say the we. We had a huge debate on this one time. I was like, hey, if you've ever played on a team, you get to say we.
I say the we.
And I mean, like,
I say the we sometimes, but I always correct it with they.
If you're any type of athlete, no, you say we still.
Sometimes, but I usually correct it with they.
You shouldn't. You should always say we. Anybody here, you should say we.
He's still young. He'll understand when he's not on the Yankees anymore. He will come to a point where, like, you're done. A few years, it's still we. But after a few years, you move on to they. You're not You're not a part of it
The
anymore.
Astros lost last night, and I was like, we lost. Oh, we lost tonight. Somebody just asked me. I just did an interview just a little bit ago, and they're like, I looked up the thing, like you play, like, and I was like, yeah, we lost last night. Tough loss. I still get a playoff share.
Yeah, Tip's calling down to the locker room. Like, hey guys, don't worry about it. You'll bounce back.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah,
To
you
the
got a player
clubhouse.
pass. Yeah, absolutely. But my funniest bullet that I did write down here was, do you know who Dan is?
Well, he does now.
That was a funny one. What about BC? Do you come up at all? Like, are you guys going to see each other at like an alumni event, or like? I mean, you guys are both professionals.
He's a New Yorker now. Does he ever get up to Boston
No,
anymore?
but you're both. You're not semi-professional. You're professional sports athletes. I feel like
I feel he's. I'm in the Hall of Fame already.
Oh,
So I feel he will be. He will be coming up shortly.
Okay, all right. You do have a vote.
I was up there because we did our baseball alumni weekend 3 weekends ago. So they do like a golf tournament and then go to a game. It was the NC State game that we went to.
Not a good game.
What'd you say?
Not a good game.
Not a good game. And then I'm going up again in, I guess, is it 2 weekends? The November 20th against Florida State.
Let's go.
My
possible.
girlfriend went to BC as well, so she coordinated it with a bunch of her BC friends. And
A lot of Eagles.
Did you guys meet at BC, or was it like an after you were at BC? Did you meet? Did you?
So
meet
we obviously knew who each other were in college. She played lacrosse. She had a boyfriend the whole time. I had a girlfriend the whole time, so we never really kind of connected, but like followed each other on Instagram, that kind of stuff. And then so I knew she was living in New York. And then this year,
slid into the old DMs.
big time. And so I had some plans to reach out to her, but I wanted to make sure that I was like established in New York. I didn't want to ask her out and then be like, yeah, actually I'm in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Actually, I have my own apartment now.
Yeah, and then, my mom helped me move in, and then also, I hired this one guy to come up to me and be like, "Is that Mike King?" You nailed it. You nailed it, man. You absolutely nailed it. Do you think she knows who Dan is? Dan, you got to be like, is that your big picture at 77 that was on the wall? The picture that I sent?
Yes.
That was you?
No.
In the stadium. Remember you were sure it was
that,
you?
I don't know if that was me or not. That might have been Gosner Charles. Actually, no, he was gone by the time, but he was a first-round pick. He had 77 after me, and I would assume they would put the first-round pick on a wall.
Time to retire that. Time to retire that 77.
I think I got someone, Barry Gallup, who was one of the on the coaching staff, operations guy, been there for a long time. He texted me the other day. He's like, "Hey, have you seen your picture in The Office or something like that?" So maybe I'm inside, not outside. Maybe.
Okay. All right. Good. That's good to know. Whatever. So maybe we'll go up to Florida State game.
Possible.
Let's do that. We'll run into you up there. That'll be fun.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe you can get us tickets.
Maybe more than you. They're like,
"Hey, we got a Yankee coming."
They're like, "Who's that guy that's on that other podcast? We don't even know who that guy
We
is."
have no clue. Hey, Tip, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Can you bring your co-host in, Tip?
I had one more question, and I forgot what it was going to be. How many guys are in the big leagues or have been in the big leagues from BC? Do you know? It can't be.
I think there's only 2 right now.
Yeah.
Is it me?
Are we in the
Justin
dozens or?
Would you say sorry?
Are we in the dozens overall? Guys that have been.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I think it's becoming a better program. Like we had a first rounder and second rounder this past draft.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
kid
like
from the Brewers, right? Brewers was the first rounder.
Like 15th overall to the Brewers.
Yeah.
And he's a really good kid. I met him during COVID actually because I was looking to throw some live BP, and so he was there to hit off me. I mean, I'd say around 10 to 20 that I can think of at least.
I'm thinking.
No, I mean they've gotten a lot better over the years. They put some money into the facilities. Mike Gambino is a coach now. He was a couple of years ahead of me, who I know. Who I knew really well at school, but great guy, great coach. Seems like the players love playing for him. He does a great job. So it's one of those programs that's coming up.
So I was leading the question: Is BC a baseball or football school?
It's a hockey school.
Hey,
Okay,
there you
that's
go.
a good answer.
That's a fair answer.
Yeah, that
hey,
is a good answer.
Until you win national titles, you don't take it over. That's a good answer.
Same thing. I was kind of thinking the same thing. So, you have anything else for Mike? Are we good? You want to vent about your house anymore?
We'll move on. I'm going to call Mike's mom and see if she can come over and fix it.
Can your mom come over and help with Dan's situation?
Yeah, maybe she knows somebody in Rhode Island.
She would do probably a great job. She'd be like a good person to coordinate.
I'm pretty sure she knows a few contractors, some insurance adjusters, whatever we got to do.
We could call her after. We'll just say, "Hey, Mike's mom, we need
Mike's
help.
mom.
We need help right now."
He's done moving in. You took care of that. Now you need to help. Stay at home. Stay in the state of Rhode Island. We need help.
Okay. Hey, well, maybe we see each other up at BC. That might not be a bad idea.
We're on the golf course because nobody golfs on that.
Well,
team.
on the golf course is happening. So it's just a matter of we're running out of weather. So if you go to Florida, when you go to Florida, maybe we make a trip down there. That's also Tampa.
Oh, hell yeah.
We probably could find a fourth in Tampa. I don't know.
I don't know.
Just saying, is there a buddy of yours that we can play with down there?
Possible.
Okay. All right. Never know.
Okay. A number 12.
That's what we're looking for, Mike. See what I'm doing? I'm baiting him right into it. We're going to pull this right off. It's going to be great.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I'd want to because I'd fangirl so hard.
I would too. Trust me.
you fit right in with them.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Great swing, Tom.
The first thing would be like, hey, Dan, can you just take a picture real quick? Is that legal? Can we do that before
Let's just get that over with.
Yeah, you don't need to be in this.
Fair enough.
All right. Hey, good talking to you.
That was awesome.
Right,
We're going to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, we will talk to you again soon. Stay safe
good.
down there in New York, all right?
I will. Don't worry.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right,
see you,
bye.
bye.
All right, guys.
All right, bye.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.